Okay, so before I begin with the lecture, I would like all of you to just hit that like button so that this video can reach to those people, those students who want to learn coding free of cost. And thank you very much for hitting that like button. Let's come on this code.org platform, and today we are going to develop this new teacher student app on code.org using the basic features of Applab. So I'm already done with designing all the required screens. So this is the first screen which the user is going to come across when he will first access the app on his respective device. So it's a login system, right? It's a login system screen which I've defined on this mobile simulator over here. So if you don't know how I have created this beautiful screen, then you can check out this lecture of mine. Okay, this one, live coding classes 1. Okay, free live online coding class 1. So you guys can check out this lecture. Definitely you will be able to understand how I have created this beautiful login screen. Now there are two components which I have defined on this login screen. One is this. The ID of this one is sign in user. So it's basically an input box which you can get it from here, from this design toolbox, and this one is again an input box, the ID of which is sign in password. And this one is a label box which I've placed over this part of this background image. Find the ID of this one is sign in. Now I would like to code this screen in such a way that after entering teacher in these two fields, if suppose the user is a teacher, and if she'll enter teacher in these two fields and hit this button over here, I would like her to redirect on this teachers panel. Fine. And if suppose the user is a student, so he can write down student in these two fields over here, and when he will hit this login button, he should be redirected. He should get redirected on this beautiful students panel. So let's do that first. I'm going to come on this sign in screen again, and let's define an uneven block quickly in this workspace for this button over here. So the ID of this button is sign in. Let me convert this back into block based coding, and from this first drop down I'm going to select the ID of this button which is sign in. So let's select sign in from here, and S is in capital, S is in small, sorry. Fine. Now how can we put a check on these two fields? So the best way of putting a validation, or you can say a check on any component, we can make use of if loop, right? So let's go for this one, because we have right now two conditions. One condition is for one thing that we have to check is the input which the teacher is going to make, and the second that we have to check is which the student is going to make. So that is the reason we can go for this if else loop. I am putting it right inside this uneven block. Okay, now how can I get the input which the user is going to make over here in these two input boxes? So the best way is to make use of get text block. Absolutely right. Let's come on this UI controls tab and pick up this get text block from here. Okay, I'm going to put it inside this if block. Let's convert it into block based coding, and from this drop down over here I am going to select the ID of this component, so it is sign in user. Fine. Now let's match it up with this text. So it should, if it is equal to teacher, T is in capital and rest everything in small. Fine. So if the user is a teacher, and if he will enter teacher over here, and also if he or she will enter teacher in this field, in this password field. So I need to change this ID over here, right? So now I need to select sign in password. So if the teacher will enter teacher in these two fields, I would like him to get redirected on this beautiful teachers panel. So for doing that, we can make use of this set screen block. let's put it inside this if loop like this. And the ID of this teachers panel is teacher, so we need to replace it with teacher, right? Now I am going to copy this whole if loop and let's define it just after this else. Okay, so if now the user is a student, so he can enter student in these two fields, and automatically I would like him to get redirected on which screen? On this students panel. So let's replace this to the student. Fine, so this is the whole code which I have defined for this login button over here. Okay, and is there anything which we are missing? That's what I am checking right now. Else, okay, this is perfectly fine. So we don't require these two curly brackets, right? Let's convert it into block based coding. So this is a whole code which is there in this workspace I've defined for this button over here. Fine, and let's make it more interactive by adding a sound to these two if loops. So for doing that, we can make use of this play speech block. Let's place it over here. So I am replacing this text with hello teacher, your dashboard is ready. Fine. Similarly, we can do the same thing for this if loop also for the teacher, for the students panel. So let's replace this teacher with student. Fine. So when the student will access the students panel, when he'll come on this students panel, he will get to hear this thing in the form of speech from the background. Hello student, your dashboard is ready. Fine, so that's how you can make it more interactive. This is one of the good ways you can use for making your apps more user friendly. Let's now come on this teachers panel. See, once the teacher is done with logging into this app and coming on this dashboard, so he can put a question over here, and then she can hit this send button to send the question to the students. Fine, so that's how we are going to code this send button. Now before that, I would like to tell you how I have designed this beautiful teacher screen that you're seeing right now. So let's come on this design panel, and this is a simple text area which I have which you can easily find in this design toolbox. Fine, so this is the one, so I have placed it. So that's how I have placed it on this GIF animated image which you're seeing in the background. Okay, and after that you just have to come down and change the background color of this text area to green. So you can select this color also. This is also looking good. Fine, so that's how you can give it a board kind of look. Let's eliminate this thing. Now how can you get this animated GIF image which you're seeing in the background? Let me help you with that. So what you have to do, you can make use of Google Images for finding out that image. So what you have to type over here, female with chart GIF animated clip art. So if you'll type something like this in the search bar of Google, automatically these are some of the beautiful images you're going to come across. Fine, so you can, if you guys want, you can make use of this one also. This is also a very good image. Fine, now this is also a very beautiful image that you can make use of for your teacher student app. Now this is the one which I am using right now, right? This is a one. Fine, so that's how you can find this GIF animated images on Google Images. Let's come back on this teachers panel. Now I'm going to place it back on this chart area. So this is a text area. Fine, and I've defined it on this image button. This is an image button which you're seeing in the background. Fine, so that's how I have placed it in order to give it a board kind of look. Then this is a simple label box which you can easily find from this design toolbox from here. So this is the one which I've defined over here, and these are two image buttons that I've defined over here on this beautiful teachers panel. Now how can you get these kind of images? Let me help you with that. So for doing that, you know what you have to do. After placing this image button like this over here, you just have to come on this choose option. When you'll hit this choose option, you're going to get redirected on this beautiful assets library available in the Applab, and then you have to come on this icons part. Fine, so these are a couple of icons you're going to come across which you can make use of for designing your app and giving it a good feel. So this is the one which I am using right now. Where is that? Okay, this is the one. Fine, if you want you can go for this hand like structure also. Okay, so that's how you can define these two icons with the help of this image button over here on this panel. Now this is a simple text input box which I've defined over here. Okay, and this one is again a text area which I've placed right in the bottom. Then these are two different buttons, and you can make use of this option for defining these two buttons over here. Fine, so that's how I have designed this beautiful teachers panel. Let's now define the code for this send button. You know, if the teacher is working on one device and there are there is one student who is accessing this app on some other device, and he is on the students panel, and on the first device the teacher which the teacher is using, she is on the teachers panel. Now if she want to send some data to the student on his device, the best way is to make use of this data browser facility. What she can do, whatever question she is going to write down over here, fine, she can save it in a table like structure over here on the data browser, which is acting as a server for us. Fine, it is acting as a server for this app which we are developing right now. So whatever, as soon as she will hit this send button, automatically whatever question she is going to write down over here, it is going to get saved in the form of table on this data browser, and from that table we can make use of read records block in order to fetch the details from that table which is going to get created when this teacher will hit this send button on that students panel. Are you getting my point? If suppose we want to pull some data on the students panel from that table which is going to get created when the teacher will hit this send button, we can make use of read records block. Now let me tell you practically how can we do this thing. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to define the code for this send button. Let's come up in this UI controls panel and make use of this on even block. Let's define it over here. Fine, now I'm converting it back into block based coding. Let's come down, and from this first drop down I'm going to select the ID of this send button which is send, S-E-N-D, and S is in small. Okay, now when the teacher will hit this send button, I would like a table like structure to get created in which I would like whatever the teacher is going to write down over here should get saved. Fine, so that's the reason I will make use of this create records block. Fine, if you have seen my previous live classes, definitely you must be knowing about why I have placed this create records block over here inside this on even block. If not, then let me tell you that. So this create records block helps us in creating table like structures on the data browser, fine, which is connected to this app. Okay, now let's change the name of the table. So I'm changing it to questions. Okay, and here in between these two curly brackets, I am going to define this field with name question. And from where can we get the value of this question named field? From this component. So the ID of this text area is question. In order to get the thing which the teacher is going to write down over here in this text area, we can make use of this get text property, right? Hope you guys are enjoying this lecture. Please do hit that like button and do share this video in your group so that more and more students can come and join these free online coding classes. Fine, so the ID of this component is question. I'm going to put question over here. Okay, so once the table, so now what is going to happen when the teacher will hit the send button, automatically a table with name questions is going to get created on the data browser, and in that table, this is the column which will get created automatically. Okay, and whatever the teacher is going to write down over here in this on this board, it will get saved as a value for this field inside this table questions. Okay, now once the teacher is done with sending the question, I would like him to get a notification kind of thing also. So for that we can make use of this play speech block. I'm putting it right below this point where this create records block is ending. Let's replace this text with something like you successfully sent the question. You successfully sent the question. Fine, let it be like this. Okay, so now the teacher will be able to send the question to the students. Now how the student can get that question or access that question on their respective panel, that's what we are going to check out. So first of all, let me tell you how I have designed this beautiful screen. Let's come on this design panel first. So this is a simple label box which I've placed on this image button. So this is an image button which you're seeing right now. Fine. And what you have to type in the Google's search tab in order to find out this beautiful image which you're seeing right now on this students panel. Let me help you with that. So you need to come over here and let's type student with a green board and bag. And what else do we have in that pic? Books are there. So if you'll type something like this, so these are a couple of beautiful images you're going to come across. Now you can add one more thing with this. You can add this keyword clip art. So these are the beautiful images you're going to come across. So you can make use of this one also if you want. This is also very beautiful image. Fine, and this is also very good. Fine, this is also one of the images you can make use of for designing this students panel. Okay, so that's how you can make use of these kind of keywords in order to find some beautiful images. Whenever you're making any app on any platform, make sure that the designing part is clear to you, because the more good your design is, the more the user will be able to the more the user will find it interesting. Fine. Okay, let's now come back on this students panel. So we have this label box over here. Now on this label box, as you can see, it is written over here, click me to get the question. So I would like to code this label box in such a way that when the user will hit this label box, automatically whatever question the teacher has broadcasted or has given to the student should get reflected over here in this label box. So how can we do that? Let's come on this coding panel. Fine, and as you guys know that the question is there in this questions name table right now. So the first thing that I'm going to define is this uneven block. I'm going to put it right in the bottom, and let's convert it back into block based coding. And from this first drop down, let's select the ID of this label box, which is get question. So where is that get question? This is the one. Now when the student will hit this get question, I would like to see the question which the teacher has given to the student reflecting over here on this board. So for doing that, we can convert it into text-based coding first, and let's make use of the read records block, which you can easily find in the data controls tab of this toolbox. This is the one I'm talking about. Let's place it in between inside this uneven block like this. Okay, and let's replace the name of the table with the one in which the question is there. So that's how we can do it, right? We just have to copy it from here by pressing Ctrl and C together. You can copy anything, and then you just have to paste it over here. By pressing Ctrl and V, you can paste anything on this JavaScript platform, so it is very easy. Now let's read the records. Let's read the required records from this questions name table. Now we want to read the question which the teacher has broadcasted from her panel. So the best way of doing it is, see, in order to get that text reflected over here, we can make use of this set text property. This is the one. Let's put it over here inside this for loop. And now the idea of this component of this label box is get question. So I'm going to copy it from here and let's put it in between these two double inverted commas. Fine. And how can we get the text for this get question thing? We can get it with the help of this simple code records I dot what is the name of the column in which the records are getting saved. The name of that column is questions. Let's copy it and paste it over here. Fine. And here let's make it more interactive by adding a sound to it. So I'm going to make use of this play sound block now. Fine, let's convert it into block based coding, and let's come down and make use of this sounds library. So let's add this fourth sound, okay, to that play sound block. Fine, so I'm done with defining the required code for this label box also. Now I'm going to check whether the code that I've defined over here in this workspace, it is going to give us the right output or not. So let's hit the share button, and I'm going to use this link for accessing the app on two different browsers now. So this is the first one. Fine, you have to assume it as if this is the first device. Fine, and this is the second one on which I am accessing this app. So on this first device, I'm going to access this teachers panel. Okay, and on this second one, I am going to access the students panel.
Hello teacher. Your dashboard is ready.
Okay, so I'm able to access the teachers panel, and
Hello student.
great.
Your
I'm
dashboard
able
is
to
ready.
access the students panel too. Fine, so the code that we've defined for this log sign in button, fine, the one which is there on this sign in screen. Okay, so it is working perfectly fine. Now we are going to check this code that we have defined for this send button. So I need to come on this data panel first. So as you can see, at present there is no table on this data browser connected to this app. Let's hit this. Let's write a question over here and hit the send button. What is the capital of Delhi? Fine. Now I'm going to hit this send button, and after that I am going to check whether a table with name questions is going to get created on the data browser connected to this app or not.
You successfully sent the question.
Okay, right. Let's come on that code.org platform, and as you can see, a table has got successfully created on this data browser. So this is the one which I have written over here on this teachers panel. Right now I am going to come on this students panel, and let's set this label box over here and see whether we'll be able to pull the records from this data browser or not, from this table questions which is there present on the data browser connected to this app or not. So let's set this label box. Okay, so the question is visible to me. Fine, so that's how you can make it working on multiple devices. Fine, the remaining part of this we are going to cover in the next lecture. Hope you guys enjoyed this one a lot. Now you guys can go ahead and ask if you have any queries in your mind. And please do share the link of this video in your group so that more and more students can come and join this channel and learn to code free of cost. Yes, is there any query, is there anything which you want to ask from me related to whatever we have learned in today's lecture? Darsh, see, it's totally your view, dear. Fine, I don't have any problem if you have found this video bad, but actually it is very good. Fine. Yes, Atharv Gamer God. Sir, you did that WhatsApp like app. No, I made it. Excellent, dear. If you have made it, sir, I will unsubscribe and I will not like you. No problem, Sojus. That's totally your call, dear. But I love you very much. Fine. Excited for today's class. Okay. Coding with Charu Mitra. Sir, can you share the link? Dear, I have shared everything. Fine with you guys. If I'll share with you the link also, then why will you code? You know. So just go through the lecture and try to make the things yourself. You will be able to do it. I know that. If you give me a Gmail, it would be helpful. Okay, my Gmail ID is jangora126@gmail.com. So I hope everything is clear to every one of you. In case you come across any issue, you guys can make use of the comment section. Fine, and let me know about your issues. Definitely I'm going to take it in the next lecture. Thank you very much for joining me in this lecture and have a great day. Bye bye.